Fox and the USA Network are apparently locking horns over big names like Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar, citing CM Punk as the cause. One report that we all saw coming has been emerging from the Wrestling Observer over the last few days, presided over by multiple reporters. Thank you very much for the host, Someone7, welcome to the show. This is not a case of the Wrestling Observer being only like one person's channel anymore. We now have multiple people reporting news from Wrestling Observer. This news is that apparently both of the networks that carry WWE programming, that being the USA Network on cable for Raw and NXT on Mondays and Tuesdays, and the Fox Network on network television for Smackdown on Fridays, are very unhappy with Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, and the whole WWE family right now. I've said many times here that while the USA Network have shown signs of discontent, Fox are typically positive over the whole working relationship. There are a number of reasons for this, but the main one seems to be that whenever Fox snap their fingers, the WWE jumps. Fox wanted a Hell in a Cell match, and they got it. The USA Network were unhappy afterwards, so they were placated with another Hell in a Cell match. Fox's needs are met proactively, while USA's needs are met reactively. It shows what the WWE's priorities are. Sources internal to the WWE are very clear that their working agreement with Fox is simply of more value to them than the USA Network, an opinion that many at the Fox Network share. It's possible even if their deal with USA went sour, Raw would just move to Fox also, with NXT going back to a network exclusive. This makes sense given the changes that are coming to NXT or that have already started. This is an idea that's been pitched a number of times amongst backstage executives and, honestly, is picking up a lot of steam. The reports about unhappiness between the networks originate from Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast with the Wrestling Observer. While he's been talking for a while about the general murmurings, Dave Meltzer himself weighed in today and mentioned that apparently the root cause of all of these problems is none other than, you guessed it, CM Punk. So essentially Zarian is saying that the networks are unhappy, but Meltzer has taken that and made sure that the story here is CM Punk. The report states that Fox are very unhappy that the WWE were unable to tempt chronic masturbation Punk back to wrestling, particularly on the Smackdown side because of his enormous crossover potential. The fact is that while CM Punk did speak to the WWE on a number of occasions, he never showed any serious inclination that he was actually prepared to come back and work with them. Fox themselves had more luck, tempting Punk onto WWE backstage where he was a proven ratings draw. Literally, the ratings were six-figure with him and only five-figure without him. It was huge, the drop. If they lost him, this being Fox, is kind of their own fault. Meanwhile, the blue side of WWE is now the most top-heavy it's ever been, despite still being a relatively small roster after a number of releases have thinned the ranks. SmackDown already had top talent in Roman Reigns and Sasha Banks, but the additions of, even briefly, John Cena, Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar have genuinely pushed it over the edge. That's before you consider the fact that both Edge and Seth Rollins are also on SmackDown, plus the overall drawing power of someone like Rey Mysterio. SmackDown alone gives AEW a run for its money. The expectation is that not all of these names will be remaining on SmackDown, and that's what the noises coming out of the WWE suggest. They're going to shuffle things, and Raw should be the big winner out of this particular draft. We've spoken for a while about a move to Raw for Seth Rollins, Bianca Belair, and Edge, but I feel confident that we can add one or both of Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar to that mix. But even before Becky Lynch returned, I knew that she was going to be on SmackDown and I expected her to go to Raw moderately quickly. Names like Asuka and Drew McIntyre are being considered to bounce back the other way, but they are simply not of the drawing power of the people who would be leaving SmackDown, meaning that Raw should unquestionably come out the big winner of this year's draft. Will that result in Fox and USA being happy? No. However, annoying the USA Network isn't that big an issue for the WWE. The contract is locked in and definitive and is set to last a while yet, so the WWE have that security regardless. Meanwhile, if their priority is Fox, maybe upsetting the USA Network is a better choice in the long run. With the WWE essentially removing NXT from the picture, that would leave us with the potential of both Raw and SmackDown on Fox. We're not there yet, but it must be a very tempting offer for all parties involved. Get the Table says, imagine how upset if Fox got Cole along with Becky and Lesnar. My goodness. We'll see if that happens. I don't think there's that much interest in Cole going to SmackDown, and I think that interest that isn't there is from Adam Cole. KJ says USA will probably dominate the draft. Hopefully SmackDown keeps Roman, plus what's USA going to do? Anything happens bad, they'd go to Fox. Essentially, yes. Roman I don't see moving. I'm confident Roman will stay on SmackDown. This Roman kind of doesn't work on Raw, but also this Roman kind of works everywhere, so it's hard to say. Buzzy says everyone just seems to be upset with WWE at this point. I will be covering that a little bit later, talking about the sale option. Bailey says Meltzer is no longer objective when it involves AEW. That's certainly an opinion that a lot of people share. Buzzy says also SmackDown's getting fed in terms of talent. No wonder USA is seething over this. I wouldn't be too happy too, to be completely honest. I wouldn't be all that happy. Michael says, I have a feeling that Becky gets moved with Seth to Raw. I agree. I think that's happening. Vitale says, thanks for having me. You are very welcome. Jake says, if Raw does move to Fox, what night do you think they will go to? Because I don't know what Fox has on Monday nights. It's Monday Night Raw, so I'd imagine they'd try and keep it. They just might move around the timing of it. Or drop it to 2 hours. Jake says, Jake has said that. KJ says, SmackDown has Roman, Seth, Edge, Brock, Becky, Sasha, Mysterious, Usos. It's a lot of names. It really is. Raw pales in comparison. Despite the star power of Charlotte Flair, who's obviously the top for star power on that brand, it just does not compare. Lance says, wouldn't ending the brand exclusivity be the easy answer to keep everyone happy here? Yes and no. Fox would not be happy about Roman Reigns appearing on Raw. Fox doesn't want to market stars that appear on USA. USA are kind of okay with it, but Fox are not. Just Foxy says, Punk quote tweeted Britt Baker with an image of his own with the AEW Rampage. A lot of people very, very excited. Very excited about what's happening right now. Moxie says, do you think Roman will be WWE champion with this persona? He already is, but I see him keeping it for a while. Michael says, how long do you think Becky holds the title? A little while. I'm kind of hoping, honestly, that she loses to Bianca. That, for me, makes Bianca and doesn't actually hurt Becky. Ed says if Raw moved to Fox, it would have to be 2 hours. All Fox outlets have a 10 p.m. news. They could potentially start at 7. I don't personally see it. I think they would move it down to 2 hours because of the money they would get from Fox. And Vitale says, I wonder why did Adam Cole cancel his Twitch stream for undisclosed reasons earlier today? Which is where we are right now. I tweeted a little bit earlier, 2 words. Emergency meeting. That is as regards Adam Cole.